Hey everybody, welcome back out to the range. It's Trigger Bar Philosopher. We have a really fun one today. We're going to be trying a few different things, but most importantly, I'm going to be sharing with you my top 7 concealed carry handguns for 2023. Let's get going. All right, so what are we going to be doing today? Today we're going to be looking at the top 7 concealed carry handguns that I have carried. They may be different for you. There may be betters out there, but I'm just going to be sharing with you what I have been using for my concealed carry. And we're going to be testing them out at the range. We're going to be doing a couple of fun things. We're going to be shooting them. We're also going to be testing some of the ballistics. I've got some new ballistics gel out, and we're going to be testing that, and we're going to see how effective the concealed carry handguns that I have are. We're going to be talking philosophy of use. This could be a little bit of a long one, but let's get going with the rest of the video. Okay, so it shouldn't be as a surprise, or if it is, you probably haven't watched my channel before, but coming in at number 7 is going to be my PSA Rock. This is probably one of the reasons that it's been the most of my 5.7s that I have concealed carry, of my 2, is because I have a holster that works for it. This is a holster that I got from Works Holsters, and it works pretty well with the PSA Rock. So we're going to take it out, and we're going to see how well the 5.7 by 28 ammunition works in some ballistic gel. Let's get to shooting. Okay, so I've got the Rock. I've got some SF 198 LF. That's the green tip. It's 27 grain. Is it the best round? Well, one of the things that I found with my PSA Rock is it seems to like the FN ammo direct from FN the best. And at 27 grains, and in some of my tests, it is going some of the fastest. It has the highest velocities and some of the highest energy foot-pounds, and the most reliable in this gun. So let's take a shot into the gel block and see how it goes. All right, let's just take a look, see what happened in the gel. See, it has a pretty nice wound cavity. Doesn't look as big that direction. I think this bullet jumped out. It probably would have kept going deeper. It was still making some decent wounding and then exited the gel. If we can take a look at the bottom, look at some of the tumbling going on. That's a pretty nasty, wide, permanent wound cavity. All right, that's our 5.7 by 28 green tip ammunition. Okay, I have this 198 LF. We're going to be shooting this over the lab radar, and we'll see how this performs, just so that we can get a quick check on what the energy is, so we compare that as we looked at the gel. 2269. 2208. Pretty big standard deviation. I'm going to just shoot a couple of rounds just so that we get a quick average, and we can go from there. All right, one of the reasons that I like carrying the Rock is that it comes with a standard capacity 23 rounds. It's pretty thin, so for concealing, you're able to tuck it into your waistband, either at the 4 o'clock or at the appendix carry, for a pretty concealable handgun. I haven't carried it a ton, just because I have other guns in my rotation, but every now and then it throws in. This is why it's down at the bottom, but it's definitely a serious contender. 23 rounds of this SS198 LF is no joke. We're going to shoot just a few here just to show how fast how fast I can shoot this, which is another big important reminder, is that maybe I can't shoot all of these guns the best, and so I should be carrying the guns that I can shoot the best. So we're just going to test out, see how I can fire this. We're going to leave a couple of rounds in here. Hopefully I won't shoot them all. I'm going to shoot about 5 or 6 of them. But let's get going. We're going to do some transitions. All right, not bad. Probably many of you can do a lot better. It's a fun one to shoot. Certainly something that I can keep on target and transition from one target to the other on. 23 rounds, serious contender for something that you ought to be considering in your carry. Maybe you don't think 5.7 is by 28 is something that you want to have with you every day, but I would say something where you might need that extra capacity, certainly something for you to consider, which is why I like it. And I just think the 5.7 by 28 is a fun cartridge. Okay, coming in at number 6, I have my Sig P229. It's originally chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. I put a new barrel in it. I've had some slide work done. I got it milled for a red dot. And we've brought it up to the modern age with some nice Hogue grips. Some Piranha grips that help me manage the recoil of the 357 Sig. So I also have it in an Eclipse holster. I really enjoy shooting this gun. I love carrying this gun. It's really just a fun setup that I have. I got it kind of set up later in the year, and it's just been part of one of my carry rotations when I'm feeling the urge to have just a little more oomph behind the bullets that I'm doing. Today we're going to be shooting some Speer gold dots, and we're going to be testing it out in some gel. Let's get going. So now we're going to bring out the P229, test 357 Sig in this gelatin. Let's see how it performs. All right, let's go downrange, take a look. All right, let's take a look at this 357 Sig round. As you can tell, there's its entrance, and it goes, I believe these are 20-inch gel blocks, so it probably goes to about 18 inches. So, what do we do in comparison of these two? Certainly that 357 Sig, if you're worried about penetration, has a lot better penetration than that 5.7 by 28 ammunition. But look at the wound channel comparison between 5.7 and 357 Sig. A lot longer, a lot deeper. It's going to get to the vitals with that 357 Sig, which is important. But dang, that's an explosion and some permanent wound cavity of that 5.7 compared to 357 Sig. Let's test our velocity on this so we can get our energy foot-pounds. 1368. 1346. Just going to be doing a couple of rounds just to test so that we can get an energy foot-pound reading on these. I'll put that in the comments and maybe we'll talk a little bit about it at the end. Okay, well, we got the 357 Sig out in our P229. Let's see how Trigger Bar can shoot with it. But I would say it was good, but not great. Certainly see my groups opening up quite a bit. Is what it is. I certainly love the round though. Let's go on to the next gun. All right, so coming in at number 5, I've got my Staccato C2. This is my bedside gun, but I often just like to carry it because it's a flippin' awesome gun. I love the way it shoots. I love the way it handles. It's chambered at 9mm. Can have a lot of capacity with it. Like the Steiner red dot, I've got a turbo, Surefire turbo light on it, and I have the DSC Gunworks compensator on it. Why don't we get it out and see how this thing performs in gel? I have some Underwood 124 grain jacketed hollow points, so we'll see how those perform in the gel. Well, we got the Staccato C2 124 grain jacketed hollow point. Let's see if we can get it into the gel. Ooh, went right next to 357 Sig. We'll see what we can tell out of this. All right, well, let's take a look at the wound channel that we have. This is the 357 Sig. This is the 9mm. You see the 9mm comes down here and ends right there. Opened up very wide. Looks like it did some twisting and turning. Lost a little bit of petals in it. But the 357 Sig went a lot deeper. A lot deeper. Let's take a look from the side. I'm sure it's hard to tell from the side channel. Looks like a very similar width in terms of 357 Sig versus 9mm, and those first sort of 5 to 6 inches, and then kind of penetrates to about right there. So yeah, looks like a pretty good performer. Definitely not a jacket or a bonded hollow point because you see some petals and some of the jacket coming off as it's going along. but that's providing opportunities for additional wound cavitation. All right, let's go do some other tests. A couple of rounds so that we can understand what the energy foot-pounds are. $12.19, $12.71. Do one more because I really enjoy shooting this gun. $12.32. All right, let's see how well Trigger Bar can shoot the Staccato C2. All right, not bad. Certainly have a lot of practice to do, but it's certainly a lot of fun to do. I think I'd be sufficiently proficient, but we'll have to see. Okay, in at number 4, in terms of the handguns that I have carried and at what frequency I have carried them. Again, these aren't my favorite carries in any given order. That would be a different video. This is the frequency by which I have carried them. So in at number 4, it's the XDM Elite 3.8 inch and 10 millimeter. We're going to be shooting some hand loads that I have in this. I forgot to bring it the other day, so I figured we'd complete some of the testing that we have with it. So we're going to be shooting some Hardcast. So that's going to be very different in the gel from the experience. But again, remember, I like to use Hardcast for bear defense, just so when I'm backpacking, when I am hunting, when I am in the woods, I carry my 10 millimeter, and I almost always have it with Hardcast. If I'm around the two-legged, ferocious animals, then I often will have a hollow point with it. And I do carry it that way, I would say a fair amount. It just really conceals well. I have a McKenna Tech holster for this one, and I really like that holster. Probably should get a better clip for it, but it conceals well and works really well. With this, I have a TLR7A light on it. And like that, for when I'm in the woods at night and hear something scary. Why don't we bring it over to the gel and take a look at how it performs. All right, so I have the 3.8 inch XDM Elite TLR7 sub. I've got an EPS on top of it. It's the full size. And we're going to be shooting it into the block. This is Hardcast. I expect this thing to go. I just hope I don't shoot my table. Hopefully I capture it in the second block. And again, these are some pretty hot and spicy Trigger Bar reloads. And yeah, so let's see how this would do in getting through some of that bear fat. Let's get going. Pretty much landed in where I expected it to be, so let's make the gun safe. Let's get downrange and see what's going on. Let's take a look at it from this side. That's where it comes in, goes all the way through. It's doing some pretty decent wounding, even all the way out to this distance. Very good penetration. Again, with a Hardcast bullet, that's what I'm looking for. Trying to get into the vitals of a charging bear, and that will do. All right, Trigger Bar's reloads. I'm just going to shoot one. $12.91. So just for the record, actually I already did that video, but I forgot to hit record, so only shot one. I actually shot a 7-shot group. The average was $12.81. That's maybe a little bit high. Top was $13.22. Bottom was $12.47. Because I had a previous video when I was measuring these reloads on my 5-inch and on my 6-inch. I wanted to do just a little bit more testing with that. Let me go check one of the shell casings for that, just so you can see it. Yep, we're starting to see a little bit of pressure signs on those primers, a little bit of flow going on. Whoa, those aren't focusing. There we are. So I'm going to be backing those off just a little bit. All right, we got our XDM Elite. Got some spicy rounds in it. Let's see how Trigger Bar can shoot it. And we only had one bullet left. I think that's the end of my shooting. But I would like to say that if that were something that I needed to take care of, first shot, I hit it. Okay, moving on to number 3, we have the CZ P229, chambered 9mm, and I have a legacy holster with it. I really like this holster setup. I really like this gun. I carry this quite a bit. It is definitely carried for sure every week, if not one or two times a day, depending on the activities, depending on where I am at home, coming in and out of the house, all those types of things around the house. Definitely like this gun. 15 round flush fit mags. You can get extenders for it. You can carry some of the other guns from CZ75. Magazines will fit in it. So yeah, let's get to shooting and see how well. What I have in this one, what I have this gun zeroed with, is a different 9mm round. I have the Underwood Extreme Defender, which is a solid copper bullet, and I believe it's a 68 grain plus P. Let's see how that does in the gel. All right, got the CZ P229. It's got an awesome trigger job and an optic cut from from Cajun Gun Works, and we're going to shoot it into the gel and see how this 68 grain plus P Underwood Extreme Defender round is going to do in the gel. I have the camera turned on, so we might actually get some footage. And Mrs. Trigger Bar is going to be pissed at me because I think I sent another round through the bottom of it. Actually, I think we actually captured the bullet, but to make the gun safe and then see what's going on. All right, let's take a look at that Extreme Defender solid copper bullet. You know, one of the things is that the bullet claims is that it is an external hollow point, and I think that it is doing a pretty dang good job of creating a permanent wound cavity, and it doesn't over penetrate. I'm a little surprised by that. Actually probably terminated right about here and then skipped off the table. Maybe Mrs. Trigger Bar won't be so upset with me because I don't think it penetrated the table, but here is that round. It's that screw trip. So captured it. Nope, it's got rifle grooving in it. Can't reload it and reshoot it, but I think it did a pretty dang good job. And I think its penetration was pretty dang good, getting close to that 357 Sig levels of penetration. Not quite, but getting there. All right, we got the CZ P01, and remember, we have in this the 68 grain plus P from Underwood, so we would expect these to be getting a lot higher velocity for a 9mm. 1757, 1709, and 1665, and I really like shooting this gun. 1675. All right, CZ P01, let's get going. That's one of the reasons why I like to carry this gun. Okay, up next at number 2, this is partially due because of its size, it's pretty small, and because of the holster system that I have with it set up with it. This is my P365 XL Spectre comp slide, so it's got a compensated integrated comp into the slide. Just has the shorter P365 barrel in it. It's got an EPS carry on it. Has 12 round magazines because it's the XL size frame. This is one of the original Icarus Precision grip modules. I like that because almost all holsters for P365 XL fit this. It does not have a thumb ledge on it, so maybe that makes a difference for you in shooting, but holster compatibility is pretty important. I really like this Enigma system. Allows me to carry and conceal this very well, which is why I carry it so often. You can just tuck it in. You're wearing whatever, dress clothes, non-dress clothes, shorts, sweats, whatever. Because it has its own belt system, you don't really need to worry about it. And I really like carrying this thing, and it gets carried a lot because of that. But now let's see how it performs. In it, I have some of that. I have some Remington 124 grain. This is a bonded projectile. And so let's see if it holds together any better than that Underwood projectile. Let's get to shooting into the gel. All right, so next up we have the P365 Spectre Comp XL with an Icarus Precision Lower. Really like the way this gun feels. I think the added weight of the Icarus Precision Lower, it about doubles the weight. That's not a lot of weight. We're talking about 3 ounces to 6 ounces. So not a lot of weight of the grip module doubling, but makes it very controllable, makes it very concealable, remaining in that very short or thin and small form factor of the P365. All right, let's get to shooting it. All right, hopefully I had the video turned on. Let's go down range, take a look. All right, let's take a look at how that Remington bonded, I think it's their golden Saber bullet. It's a bonded jacketed hollow point did. And we can see that it held together pretty good. But out of that short 3-inch barrel, we can get tons of expansion. We got a little bit of expansion. It's this bullet down here. Got a little bit of bounce back. We got sufficient penetration, probably because the bullet didn't expand as much, but not as big a wound channels that I can see to my eye. Maybe if I flip this sucker over, I can see that just a little bit better. It's the one down below, not this top one. Top one was that Underwood, the Underwood Extreme Defender bullet. And this bottom one, which is a little bit hard to see. One more flip. See, that's the wound cavity. And that's where the bullet is, right in there. All right, let's get on. All right, next up we got the P365 XL with the Spectre Comp slide. It's got a really short barrel. This is shooting some 124 grain plus P out of it, and I believe it is the Remington Golden Saber. 1092, 1079, and 1109. All right, P365 XL Spectre Comp. Let's see what we can do. Whew, not bad. Love that compensated slide. Really helps keep the recoil down from what is normally a pretty snappy handgun. Something you have a hard time getting all your hands on. So this is another reason why I like to carry it. All right, let's go on to the next gun. I bet the anticipation is killing you to see what Trigger Bar's #1 carry gun is gonna be. All right, next up, the most carried gun that I have for 2023 is my Kimber Micro 380. Trigger Bar, a 380? Well, you know, it just gets stuck in my pocket so many times. I love the Vetter holster. It just works. Let's see what type of ballistics that it has in the gel. We're going to be running a Federal HST. It's their newer bullet that has that, integrated core that allows it to penetrate just a little bit deeper. I believe it's a 99 grain projectile. So we'll see how it performs for how much Trigger Bar carries it. And I think that maybe that's one of the messages that I have, is that concealability, carryability, those all contribute to how frequently I carry it. I would love to carry my Staccato C2 everywhere, but I'll just be the first to admit it's not the most comfortable to carry and conceal. It's a bigger gun. This thing just melts away in your pocket. And yes, I have good belts. Yes, I have good holsters and good systems. It's really about how small and lightweight, if you're going to be compliant with the system of carrying as much as possible. So let's take this little Micro 380 out and see how it performs. All right, well, we got the little Kimber Micro 380. We're going to see how this performs in the gel. Is this going to change Trigger Bar's opinion? I don't think so. Again, better than a sharp stick, conceals, lightweight. I prefer, I've said this in many other videos, I prefer this gun. I used to have an LCP Max It has a lot, almost double the capacity, 13 rounds with its little extended one. But I just prefer this gun. It shoots a lot better for me than the LCP Max and the LCP. It feels a lot less recoil, which is funny, but again, in a mouse gun, you know, I'm going to be wanting to be getting shots on. And also I figure if I'm going to be carrying this every day, I want to enjoy it when I shoot it, right? I don't want something that I was like, well, I hate shooting it, but I'm going to carry it every day. Life's too short to hate the guns that you carry. I'm not sure I know where that one went. So let's take another look. All right, well, I had to take a double look at this because I couldn't tell which one it was. So I had to go back to the replay, and I've actually flipped the block. So if you're following, the block has been flipped from off of its side. I believe it was, yeah, off of its side. This right here is the entrance wound. This is the cavity, and it penetrates all the way here to here. That's pretty good penetration. Now, some of you would say, hey, you don't have clothing in it. Maybe it wouldn't open up. Well, look, if a projectile in a 380 doesn't open up, I don't care, because what I'm most concerned about with 380 is penetration difference. Most people say, and I tend to believe sometimes, is that it would be great if you ran FMJs, because what you really want with a 380 is sufficient penetration. So if clothing gets in the way, it's going to penetrate. Now, if this hit a piece of bone, hit something else, would it get that far? I don't know. But for comparison, that's one of our 9mm rounds right here from Underwood. It had a much bigger wound channel right next to it, right? A lot more damage that's going through, much bigger slug. But this wasn't bad and got pretty good penetration. Again, if it probably had hit something back in here, it maybe wouldn't have gone. And didn't open up as perfectly. But that's not a bad round. Again, better than a sharp stick and helps me keep compliant. All right, let's see what kind of velocities we're getting out of this little pocket carry gun. With, again, the Federal HST. 893. 877. 872 and 889. All right, well, now we've got the Kimber 380. Let's see how it does on the range. Okay, not too bad. Better than a stick in the hand. Seems like a great option for me. I really enjoy carrying this because it's so lightweight, so concealable, and doesn't shoot half bad. All right, well, so first up, I want to thank everyone for paying attention for so long. I know this video has been going on just a little bit, but it certainly was a fun one for me. This has been my first testing with the ballistics gel, and I'm pretty excited about some of the results that I have in here. We have quite a few different rounds. We've got the 5.7x28. We've got 3 different kinds of 9mm. We've got some 380. We've got some Hardcast 10mm. We've even got some 357 Sig. You know, I think all of these rounds, they are sort of my choices for self-defense. And I don't know that there's anything in particular that's too disappointing. I think all of them got pretty good penetration. The exception being that Underwood, but it got very nice expansion. And again, if it had to go through clothing, it might expand less, so that might be better for it. It did lose a little bit of the shells, or a little bit of its jacket, so something to explore is whether or not I want to move to a bonded bullet like the Remington Golden Saber bonded hollow point. But other than that, just fantastic overall performance from the carry guns that I have chosen. I've chosen them for a reason. We've talked about that in review. The 5.7x28, I've got a lot of capacity, very low recoil. I can get off shots pretty rapidly. Moving up to number 6, it was our 357 Sig. A little bit of an older gun, but I really like the double action, single action guns. Probably going to move up higher in my list, although not too sure. The list is pretty defined and there are some good characteristics for that, but I certainly probably will be carrying it a little more frequently. Next up after that is, again, my Staccato C2, one of my favorite guns in my collection. If I were to keep one handgun, that probably would be the one gun that I would keep in my collection. Pretty much a do-everything handgun. You can conceal carry it. You can be your bedside gun. You can go fast with it. Really enjoy that gun. And then at number 4, it was my 10 millimeter. And again, we were shooting some hardcasts. Probably learned maybe just a little bit too hot and spicy. Need to tone some of that down, trigger bar just a little bit. And but it performed very well in the gel. Really looking for some significant penetration with those hardcast bullets, and that's what we're seeing with that. And then at number 3, we're looking at our CZ P01. Really love that gun, and it does get frequently carried. And we got some great performance out of that external hollow point, or the Extreme Defender. It didn't over penetrate, which was a little bit of a surprise to me, and it created a nice wound channel. And then up number 2 was our P365. Not as great a penetration with it, but it wasn't too bad. And definitely, certainly something that's very concealable, and that's the reason why, and especially with that Enigma system, holster system I have, makes it extremely concealable and very comfortable to carry. And then number 1, probably not a shocker, but you know, again, maybe not my first gun I would choose to get in a gunfight with or to defend my life with, but it's one that I frequently carry because it's just so easy to carry a gun with it. This goes back to something that I'm a firm believer in. The gun in your pocket is better than the one you have at home. So if you're not going to carry one, get yourself a Micro 380. Quit being, you know, all manly man. If you carry one, if you put one on all day long, every day, no problem. You know, carry what you rock what you carry, just maintain compliance. And that 380 didn't have such a bad performance, especially when we stack it up against all the other things. Is it the most energy foot-pounds? No, but did do a pretty good job in this gel? It did. It did. Let me know what you think. Out of what is your top 6 carry guns? 6? What is your top 7 carry guns? How do you like to carry them? Appendix, inside the waist, external, outside the waistband. Which of these guns would you carry? Which of them would you throw away and never touch? Let me know what you think. I'm pretty excited about the new testing regimen. This is something you want to see more of on the channel. Probably not going to make it this long and this boring, but we'll try to get things a little bit more excited. But thank you all. Appreciate everybody's support. Please have a fantastic day.